Crime Curious is a true crime podcast that takes an in-depth look into real cases through the lens of a trained investigator and former prosecutor turned judge.
If you are sensitive to expletives, anatomical descriptions, and accurate descriptions of crime scenes, this podcast may not be suitable for you.
Welcome to Crime Curious. I'm Charnell, and we have special guest Wes in the studio today. Hello, Wes.
Hello.
Everyone hear Wes's sultry voice on the podcast again.
Well, thank you.
And Wes, let's shake our gree-gree.
All right, here we go.
I have the raccoon bones because y'all know I can't get that kangaroo sack out of Wes's hands.
I love it.
Okay, we have a very special episode today. And Wes, this is going to be your first time experiencing on the podcast a live interview that we're doing.
We actually talked to the fella that had written the book.
Oh my gosh,
Yes,
we did do that
we did
together.
do that.
My mistake,
Yes.
friend.
So it's my second time.
You've now been here so long I can't even remember all the episodes that you've done. So, okay, wonderful. Well, our special guest today is Vannah, and Vannah is coming onto the podcast today to give us some information, as much information as able to be released right now. This is an active missing person case. So we are putting this episode out as soon as possible to get as much information out there as possible for the public. So please be on the lookout. And I'm just going to turn the reins over to Vannah so that she can tell us the story. So welcome, Vannah. Thank you so much for being on today.
Hi. Well, I guess I'll just get to it.
Yeah.
My sister is Jaden Lee Carpenter. She's been missing out of Maury County, Tennessee, since October 7th, 2022. Nobody's seen or heard from her. The last person that did see her was her boyfriend at the time. She's my little sister. We grew up together. It's really hard for me and my family not knowing where she is.
Of course.
And we're just reaching out pretty much anywhere to try to find answers. And there's been a lot of rumors, and random people have messaged me, and she kind of went down a wrong path there for a while and got mixed into a pretty rough crowd. And, everybody has their ways of dealing with things. She didn't really have an easy life growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Her dad wasn't there. So I feel like a lot of her problems, she kind of might have based off of that, just not having that support.
Certainly.
And, so, yeah, she has a 4-year-old daughter, and she actually had already not had custody of her daughter because of going down that wrong path. She got addicted to drugs and started hanging out with really, rough people. And the guy she was dating was a little bit older. I don't know. I don't know what else to say at this point, but it's just.
Well, can you spell her name for me so that everybody can kind of see, put a name here?
Yes, it's Jaden, and then Lee, Leigh, and then Carpenter, Carpenter.
Okay, and we call her Shug. Everybody in our family has always called her Shug. Growing up, that.
Like half of our cousins didn't even know her name was Jaden. And a lot of the time, even when her friends would come over from like school and stuff, and they'd be calling her Jaden, I'd be like, "Who's Jaden?" And like, she might have went down that wrong path, but she really was somebody still, just because
absolutely.
she had addictions and stuff. you know, some people, you know, might look down on that, but she's still loved. And I'll never forget when I found out I was pregnant with my son, my firstborn. He's 10 now. And I called to tell her and my mom that I was pregnant, and she started crying. My sister did. And I said, Shug, why are you crying? And she said, I'm just so happy. And then I ended up moving back down to Tennessee, and she was just the best aunt. She was there for all of my son's first. You know, I'm 8 years older than her, so you know, she was still a teenager, like 13, 14, when my son was born. And you know, she was hilarious. She was always trying to make people laugh, you know. And you know, I don't know, I kind of feel like I have suspicions personally with the boyfriend, but I can't really say for sure that that's, you know. And yeah, I don't know.
Do we know any details about, you know, the last person that saw her? What, you know, give us a description of what she looks like. Do we know what she was wearing?
I have no idea what she was wearing. The last person that saw her was her at the time. I actually reached out to him. I tried adding him on Facebook, and he wouldn't get my friend request, and he wouldn't answer my call on Facebook.
Oh, hold on one second. Your phone, sorry, your phone was breaking up.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. Can you just repeat that? I think what you were saying was the last person that actually saw her was her boyfriend, and you tried to add him as a friend on Facebook, and he wouldn't accept your request.
Yes, and I tried calling him on there too, because I didn't have his number, obviously. So I tried calling him on there, and he wouldn't answer. But then he messaged me back, and he was saying how he was working on the farm and all this stuff. His family has a farm. And then I had like reached out to him and, you know, was like, hey, you know, what happened? Where's my sister? And this was before I filed the report, because, you know, like a couple of her friends had reached out to me and said they hadn't seen or heard from her in like a week.
Okay. I was going to ask you, how did you guys figure it out? Okay.
Yeah, that's when I was alerted about it, because I actually live in Ohio. So me and her would actually video chat at least once a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it wasn't unusual for us to even miss a week sometimes, you know. So it wasn't like I was thinking, oh, she's missing. And so, yeah, then I tried calling him, and he didn't answer. And then I asked him what happened, and he told me that they had been working, and which neither of them had a real job. It was whatever they were doing with that situation.
Mm-hmm.
But he said that they had been working, and they came home and they were going to get ready and go to bed, ready for bed. And she said that she wanted to go and get some food. So she ran to town, so he was like, oh, so he let her take his car, and she was going to run to town and get food. And then he said that she texted him and said that she couldn't do it, and left his car at the end of the driveway with the keys in it. And then he said that was the last time that he saw her or heard from her.
And by couldn't do it,
and that's
what
the
was
last
he?
Person that.
Oops, sorry, I kind of interrupted you. So by couldn't do it, what did he say she meant by that?
He didn't really clarify, but I'm thinking what he meant was that that she was done with the relationship, that she couldn't be with him anymore.
I see. Which is always a dangerous time.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
So we think and had she indicated to you in your previous conversations that she was considering being done with him?
Yeah, actually the very last conversation that I had with her, she told me that he was crazy and she was going to be leaving him.
Did she ever indicate that she was fearful of her life?
No, she didn't really say anything like that, but a couple of her friends that talked to her with her in the last few days before that have said that they said that he was abusive and stuff, which I don't know that to be fact. But
Sure. But just, collecting information.
right, yeah, I've done a lot of that.
Yeah. And gosh, in these cases it's so difficult because, just so our listeners understand, from a family perspective, my family lives in the same vicinity that I do. I don't check in with them every day.
Right.
I don't talk to them every day. Right. So situations like this are so difficult for families because it's not abnormal to go a week or more.
Go a week, couple weeks maybe. I
Yeah.
mean, I have a brother I talk to every week, every other week probably.
Right.
you know.
Right.
So from your standpoint, I can see, and thank God that her friends reached out to you guys, because honestly, even like a week is pretty quick,
Right.
to hear from friends when you don't live in the same state,
Yeah.
to hear from friends and say,
Well,
hey,
because
go ahead.
yeah, they said that she went missing that day last time. Well, it was actually her ex-boyfriend that she called on Snapchat because she was scared. He said that she sounded scared and she wanted him to come get her.
Oh.
And he said that she never got to give him the address of where she was at, and then the call got cut out and he couldn't get a hold of her after that.
Okay.
And so he ended up calling me and messaging me a week later because he wasn't sure if maybe her phone just lost service or whatever, just a normal problem. And then after he hadn't heard from her in like a week, he ended up reaching out to me because he knew that, me and her were pretty close.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good that he reached out too.
Right.
And then so, yeah, that's how it started.
Right. And at what point, so I'm assuming, you tried to call her, tried to do your regular FaceTiming like you usually did. What would happen? Would it just go to voicemail or?
Yeah, it went straight to voicemail every time I tried calling. And I tried getting a hold on her on every platform that we had, Snapchat, Facebook,
Sure.
everything.
Sure.
Tried calling her, like pretty much blew everything up. And then when I couldn't get a hold of her, I ended up like her ex-boyfriend actually initially tried to file a police report, but I guess they wouldn't let him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know why. They thought maybe he was just like a disgruntled ex or something. I don't know. And so they wouldn't really let him. So I ended up calling and filing it because I didn't know if you had to go up in person to do it because I've never had to do anything like that before.
Well, of course, right.
So I ended up calling them, and they put out a poster that like the same day, and then they made one. They had one media push for it, but that was it. They haven't had it played on the news again or anything like that. I just made that page, and
yeah, tell our listeners about that page.
Carpenter.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it's called Help Find Jaden Carpenter. It's a public group on Facebook. It's dedicated to her case, and it's just basic public information about the case that can be released is posted there. Friends and family are able to go there and post pictures and like story time of times they've had with her, and it's been pretty nice to have that group because then I can see who her real friends were that came and posted stuff and said really nice things about her, and
certainly
she was pretty popular. She had some pretty good friends, and then she had some people that weren't really her friends.
Well, right. Well, that's kind of what I wanted to get into a little bit. I mean, has the boyfriend that you have your suspicions about went on there and posted anything?
No, he's not part of the group.
Okay.
He never shared her missing poster ever.
Okay.
I was just thinking, I don't know. It's just he would be trying to help find her at least.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Has he had contact with your family? Has he, anything?
No, I had to reach out to him. And then another weird thing he did was 2 days after she went missing, he changed, because he had a picture of them as his profile picture. He changed his picture to a selfie. And then like a week or two later, he deleted all the pictures that he had posted of him and her on there.
Oh.
And he changed his profile to single the same day he changed it to the selfie. But
2
I
days
took
after she
screenshots
went
of all the
missing?
pictures before. Yeah, 2
Ooh.
days after she went missing, and I took screenshots of all the selfies or all the pictures that he had still posted of her before he deleted them.
Okay. Perfect.
Has he ever been interviewed by law enforcement?
Yeah, I don't know if they've actually interrogated him. I do know that they have went and spoke with him, and I do know that they talked to him at least twice.
Okay, well,
But
that's
they-
good.
You know,
And has her phone ever been located?
no, none of her personal belongings or anything has been located. Yeah, they're working on that. They are working the case. It seems pretty active, but
That's
I'm
good.
not allowed to say.
Of course.
Oh, sure,
much
understandable.
about
Yes,
that.
yeah. I think in our text message, I was explaining to you our current positions on this podcast,
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
understand completely how important it is to keep certain details close to the chest.
Right.
Certainly, but just to make sure everybody has the information as well. And given the background, the little bit of background that you have told us, and yes, humans can be humans and fall off their path,
Sure.
most definitely, and go through some really hard times, but that does not mean that they're deserving
Yeah.
of anything bad happening to them, or that they don't deserve as much coverage as the other, the other
She could
person.
have redeemed herself.
Absolutely.
She's only 21.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask
she's
you.
really
Her
young.
age.
She could-
Oh gosh, her brain's not even fully developed
Right.
yet. For crying out loud.
Right, and when she had her daughter, she was only 7. So
Hmm.
you could see how hard it probably was for her to figure that out, and to the point where she couldn't really figure it out,
Definitely.
and she had to numb pain from past trauma. She didn't really know how to deal with that stuff, and she was pretty sad most of the time I talked to her, and I don't know. she she really missed her daughter and wanted better for herself and for her daughter, and didn't know how to get there. And
Who was
I tried
caring
to
for
get
her
her to
daughter?
leave.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
Her
you.
daughter actually is with. Oh, you're fine. Her daughter is with her dad.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Her biological father.
Yeah.
And so he has her daughter is fine, perfectly safe, and
Good.
has a good home as it appears. I haven't actually got to meet her because I live states away.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Well, that's at
And
least
then
something.
by the time. Right. Yeah, I'm glad for that.
And then you were
But,
you were
so
saying
she
by the
just-
time.
I don't remember.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
By the time, I don't know, what was I saying before that?
Oh, we were just talking about how she's so young, and yes, she may have fallen off from a bad path, but that didn't mean that she's any less deserving of being found, or in regards to that path. Are there other people in her life that might have had a beef with her?
Yeah, it really was a pretty rough crowd of addicts that she was hanging with. I'm gonna just say they were like meth users,
Okay.
and I guess Maury County area, and it's just like a whole crowd of, they call it back road tweakers,
Okay.
that like OD people and dump them off somewhere in hollers.
Okay. Was she
Some
actively
of these people
using?
that are coming forward, she wasn't, but I think she was just telling me what I wanted to hear because
Sure.
she knew that I wanted better for her.
Oh, of course. Okay. That's fair enough. Yeah, definitely.
She had gotten to a point where she was really skinny. She used to be a girl, and she was down to like one, and she was, and I wanted to believe her. She told me she'd been working and everything, and she wasn't.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
Well, and unfortunately, meth is such a destructive drug.
and she would make me proud, because, and I didn't want to be on her too had a strained relationship because of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can understand my mom's situation.
Well, sorry, your phone is cutting out again.
You're not gonna, do what you need to do. And I understand that too, but
Right.
it's hard for my mom too, because my mom really did try to help her. And
Right.
she just didn't want to. She wanted to do what she wanted and didn't want to follow by the rules that my mom wanted to lay out for her to help her.
Of course. Your phone cut out just a little bit there. So if I'm understanding what you said, you were saying that you think that Jaden was kind of telling you guys what you wanted to hear because she didn't want you to be disappointed in her. Did you say that there was a fallout with your mom and her, or just that she didn't want there to be?
They didn't really have a fall. There wasn't really a fallout.
Okay.
It was more that my sister didn't want to listen to my mom's rules to get my mom's help.
Sure.
So she kind of just went off and didn't talk to my mom because my mom wasn't going to enable her behavior.
Fair enough. Yes.
Did she leave mom's pretty early? Was she still a teenager?
I do believe she might have still, but no, I think she was still there just until she turned 18. I think she ended up getting an apartment when she turned 18.
Okay.
My mom did try to get her to stay too, though, but you know how it is when you're first moving out and you're young like that. You just I got to get away from my parents.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
I can't do what I want.
Yeah. You think that all your problems will be solved when you get away from your parents, and then you don't realize how many more problems you have now that you're away from your parents.
Exactly.
Yes. And I admire that you have done such a phenomenal job in staying close with her, even, not loving all of her life's choices. And I can say, as the youngest in my family, and my sister is 9 years older than I am, so it always kind of felt like a little bit like a mothering relationship, with her. I would definitely lie to my sister too if I was doing something that I thought would disappoint her, because that big of an age gap, you can really start to get some parental, I don't want to disappoint this person who helped, helped guide and shape me.
Yep.
So
yeah, she always told me I was like another mom to her,
yeah.
I took care of her when we were kids. My mom, we were like latchkey kids, basically. My mom had to work. And so we'd get home and I'd take care of the younger kids until she got home from work.
Yeah.
And so, and we were really tight. We shared a room most of our life. She's my only sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I have step siblings on my dad's side too that are very close to me, but she's my only little sister, and it's sad because that's another thing I did want to mention. She must have kind of looked up to me in a way, but with that too, because I went through a similar experience. I'm actually celebrating 5 years clean October.
Wow!
Amazing! Congratulations.
Thank you. I got away from that same lifestyle, and I just wanted the same thing for her because I could relate to what she was going through. And that was another reason that I stayed so tight with her, is because I didn't want her to be alone like I was, like I felt like I was,
Mm-hmm.
and to get out of that situation, you have to have support.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's almost impossible.
And that was the thing I had tried to tell her, you can come here, and then she just kept telling me she didn't want to leave her daughter. She didn't want to feel like she abandoned her daughter. And I understand that too, because I had to leave my son in Tennessee with his dad, because if I had stayed there, I would have died.
Yeah.
I would have been missing her dead.
Yeah.
Because I was in similar bad situations that she had been in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just completely understood and tried to get her to feel that I understood, so she didn't feel so alone, but I feel like she still didn't feel like I completely understood her, if that makes sense, because there was I had my dad growing up, her dad was in prison, and then he has CSC charges and stuff like that, so she was never around her dad after that. So she just didn't have that. And then there was somebody my mom was dating when she was a kid, and she looked up to him as a dad, and they were really tight, and he had died of a heart attack in front of her.
Oh, no.
When she was, I can't remember how old she was. It was about 10 years ago. So,
oh, gosh. So she was
like
11
or 12.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. She's still a baby.
She had to go. Yeah, and it was her and my mom there when it happened, and they lived at this storage facility place because my mom ran the storage, so they had an apartment upstairs. And so when the ambulance got there, my mom was in there trying to do CPR, so she had to have Shug go out and open the gate. So I feel like she never really got over that.
Oh,
Well,
certainly.
that would be pretty tough to get over.
Part of the trauma. Right. And like that was basically her dad, you know. He was
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
he was always there for her, and so part of that was probably how she went down the road she went down.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
also in the area that she's in is just horrible. It's horrible for that stuff. Like anybody that you think, oh, they'd never be like that, you turn around and a couple weeks later and they're like that.
It's so easily
It's that
accessible.
bad. Like
Is it a poor rural
it's
area?
everywhere. It is pretty rural. It's Columbia, Tennessee area. It's kind of it's bigger than like Hillsdale area, but
Okay.
it's still more rural than Nashville. It's got a lot of like back roads that are windy and stuff like that.
Okay.
You know, we are all but just one decision away from falling off the wrong path at any given moment. I mean, truly, you know.
Yep. As soon as you think that could never be me, you can be humbled by God.
Absolutely. And just, you know, congratulations for you for maintaining your sobriety during all this stress as well. That's a huge, huge accomplishment in of itself. And so
Well,
I'm
never going to, I don't want to go back to that life. I have,
Good.
you know, 3 kids at home with me, and I'm working on getting visits with my son more often.
wonderful.
Being states away, it makes it harder. If I lived in Tennessee still, I'd be able to see him all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Being states away from him.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that life is just not worth it. And that's what I was always trying to show her, you know, and so many other addicts out there, like they can do it. Like I did it. You can get clean.
Oh, sure.
You know, it's way better on this side, and life will improve. It's the drugs telling you that your life is bad.
Right.
Your life is not bad.
Yep.
You can change it, you know?
Yep. We have a lot of listeners that
So-
are celebrating their
Sure.
sobriety. So I think that what you're saying, a lot of people are going to be able to resonate with, most definitely.
And do you feel from your experiences that sometimes it's very difficult from people that have never battled addiction to understand what you're going through?
Oh yeah, actually, it is difficult for people who have never battled it to understand it, because they don't know. They can see the situation that someone's in, and they just say, well, how did you get to that point? How did you let it get to that point? But they don't really understand that, like, a lot of the time, those people are just trying to mask pain,
Oh, sure.
and they don't know how to fix it. They're putting a Band-Aid on something that needs surgery.
Yeah, people say, well, just stop. Well, it's not that easy.
Not that.
I mean,
if it were that
Yeah.
easy,
Well,
everyone
especially
would
if
do
you're
it.
Especially if they're doing drugs that are make you have really bad withdrawals, like
Oh, sure.
fentanyl or opiates and stuff. And there was a point in time that she was addicted to fentanyl. She had told me that she got away from that because she came here and she was detoxing while she was here. And I tried to get her to leave and stay, I mean, not leave, stay here and not go back. But then she hurried up and like packed up because she wanted to go back because she was feeling so
I
bad.
feel so sick, and
Yes.
it's
Oh yeah, it feels like
never
you're
gone
about to
through
meet
it
Jesus.
myself, but I've seen it, and it
Yep.
must be horrible.
Yeah, I too have not. I've not had the disease of addiction, and but
I've
have
never
watched
had
numerous
that kind
people.
of thing either, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
No,
that's
you're
okay.
fine.
We're all just saying the same thing.
Well,
I think of how awful. You know, we've seen people go through it, and it's horrific.
And Vannah, you
Yeah.
said it at the beginning. You know, and not just with your sister, but with any addict, that's still a human being. That's still somebody with a family, that they could be a mother, a daughter, a brother, a son. I mean, they still have people that love them and care about them, and they,
and
sometimes
they still
people
have a chance to redeem themselves.
Oh, sure they do.
Heck yeah.
Unless somebody steals it from them,
Right.
or
Yep.
dump them out somewhere. Really, we just want closure. We want to know what happened.
Do you, what's your gut tell you? I mean, do you?
I feel she's no longer alive.
Okay.
I've experienced spiritual things myself.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Today,
I love that stuff.
Just today, I was on TikTok, and they have this new AI filter, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of bored. I'll just play with this filter. Well, I took a picture of myself, and it turned into her. It looked exactly like her.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
wow. Yeah.
And we resemble a little bit, but we're not like, we have different dads. We don't look exactly alike.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's been other times too, like, I just keep finding like blue feathers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a rainbow that was like shining onto my blinds from outside, and it was sunny. I have like a mirrored table on my front porch, and it was shining in my window, and I just thought of her instantly. I don't know.
What is the significance of the blue
it was a sign
feathers?
from her.
Oh, feathers in spirituality are a sign from the other side. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also her favorite color was blue.
Oh,
okay.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. I always tell my boys that our angels, if you're asking the universe and God for a sign, they're not going to put it someplace you're not going to see it, right? So you could get a sign on TikTok. You could get a sign on Facebook. If it resonates with you, then it was meant for you. I tell my kids, if I want you to...
You just reminded me of another one.
I just always say, if I want you to take out the garbage, I'm not going to leave you a note in my bathroom to take out the garbage, right? God works the same way. He's not going to leave you a sign where you're not going to see it. He's got to access you. If you're on TikTok, he's going to leave it on TikTok.
And I also do research when I find the stuff. When I find things, I like look it up and what it means. Like, but another thing that happened was I actually have a Find My iPhone app on my phone. And when she was here, we had shared location, and she had lost her phone, so I helped her find it because she came and visited like 2 Easters ago. And so her name was the only person in the Find My iPhone app besides my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on my Find My iPhone app is a page over, because I went what happened was I went to set my alarm on my phone, and it's a page over from where the Find My iPhone app is on my home screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I set my alarm and set my phone down, and I went to sleep. When I woke up in the morning, the Find My iPhone app was up with her name pulled up, which said no location found.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Well, that just gave me chills.
So it was like, I know I got them too, but it was like it was her telling me, they still haven't found me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she knows that I'm trying, like.
Most definitely. Yep, I agree. And interesting, so just a little bit of a backstory. I believe it's your aunt, Dana, lives in my hometown. And so she had told me, we've talked back and forth about the case as it's going and whatnot. And I had opened the door for you to come on the podcast I'm like, oh, we'll get in touch with them. We'll get the information on the podcast. And she didn't reach out, but then all of a sudden, she tagged me in your post. And so we ended up messaging to get this set up. But what is interesting to me is that I'm a very spiritual person. I don't usually talk about this on the podcast, but I do all kinds of some side work actually with spirituality things and whatnot. And so I just find it interesting that you have had, those things, and it's just all those signs and synchronicities, that are kind of leading you down this path of, like you said, you want closure. And you guys are feeling at this point in time, I mean, her, right? She's not someone that has went half a year or more without ever speaking to you guys, right?
No, and actually the last time, not the last time, because we had been speaking every week, because one of the last times she hadn't talked to me in a while, I tried calling her and she didn't answer, and I messaged her and I was like, if you don't, get a hold of me, I'm going to have a wellness check on you,
Sure.
you need to keep in touch with me. And then she called me and she's like, I'm sorry, I haven't been keeping in touch with you. I know I need to get better at that, and then ever since then, until she disappeared, we had been speaking at least every 2 weeks. We would video chat each other for like an hour at a time and just, fill each other in on our lives,
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Yep. And it's just, and now this was October, right? From the last time anybody really heard from her. So yeah, I can see.
And the last time I talked to her in October, I was kind of getting on her ass, because she was making like a bunch of Facebooks. And you know what that tells me is that she's on drugs.
Okay.
Nobody needs that many Facebooks unless they have like a business profile or something like that.
Right.
And she had said that her boyfriend had hacked her phone, which I'm guessing he just watched her type her password in. And so she said that's why she made a new Facebook, and she would call me and explain stuff to me when she went and got her stuff, because she was going there to pack up her stuff. And this was on October 3rd. But she had been, still with him. I'm wondering if he wouldn't let her leave, or I don't know.
Right, which we know is very common.
So
can I ask you, do we know, was he a active user?
I don't think he has a record, but yeah, he is.
Okay.
As far as I've heard, that he makes the girls that he dates take all the risks. He makes them do all the selling and the re-upping and all that, so that if they get caught, it's not on him.
And if they get pulled over, the girls have it hid somewhere and.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. He would make them take all the risks, because I'm not going to mention her name, but one of his exes had reached out to me and told me a situation that happened with her. And yeah, so
well, I'm glad you said that, because I was going to ask if there were other people involved in his life that have communicated with you guys of, what he's like.
Well, she said that their relationship was perfect at first, and then all of a sudden he just started being crazy, and she thought that he was going to kill her, and then she got away from him, and she said that she thinks that the only reason he didn't kill her is because she had split custody with her kid's dad, week on, week off. They would have noticed that she was missing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the way Shug portrayed herself was, nobody loves me, I'm an orphan, because she had secluded herself from our family because of her choices.
She's fighting her demons.
Right. And I was pretty much the only one who still kept in touch with her, and she would still talk to, because
well, yeah. I mean, you
knew I'd kick her ass. I was like, "Oh, get your ass in line, girl."
Yeah.
And that's what addiction will do, is it'll cause you to pretty much isolate yourself from anybody that's gonna, try to
make you do better.
Yep. But I mean, with you going through it and whatnot, you knew the type of support that she needed, because I imagine you also know you can't force her to want to change until she's ready to.
Right.
No one was going to.
And she was so sad, and to a point where she just didn't care anymore, I feel like. And so she just settled for that, because she wanted to be loved so bad. She just settled thinking, this is it. This is it for me. This is the best it's going to get.
Yep. Those limiting beliefs, right?
Yeah.
Do we know, I mean, has he given any sort of explanation I think she ran off with another guy, or she said she was going to go to Mexico or anything like that?
No, she wouldn't just run off like that I know of. And no, I don't think she would. She would keep in contact with me. I mean, I guess another rumor, there's a bunch of rumors going around, because all these people that she was hanging around, all these meth heads, hear a story and then they take it and they twist it into something else, and then they message me about it saying a bunch of crazy stuff. And it's just like everything just gets distorted, and there's just a bunch of rumors going around and people saying something happened, that they were there and they weren't there,
Right.
you know?
Oh, yeah.
I've actually experienced that where people, they say it's their reality, which isn't reality, but they think it's really going on.
Right, it's psychosis.
I had wondered if he had given the police any, you know, explanation or theory of what he thought, where he thought she went.
Okay, so he actually, he changed his story up a little bit with the police than what he told me, and I told the detectives this as well. He told the police that pretty much the same beginning of the story, that they had been working and they came home and got ready for bed, but this time they went to bed, and he woke up around 4 a.m. and she was gone, and he had a text from her saying, "It's pretty much the same thing. I can't do this anymore. You'll find your car somewhere in the roadway with the keys in it." So he basically tried to make it out like she ran away and making her look bad. She must have ran off with another dude. I don't know where she is, you know. It's kind of
that's what I was getting
like.
to earlier, because that's pretty typical, honestly. Either, well, she's been talking about going to Mexico, or, well, she just ran away with another. You know what the common one is? Truck drivers. They'll say, "Oh, a truck driver came and picked her up and she ran away with him. She fell in love with the truck driver." So, yeah, we've covered a lot of cases like that where that was what the supposed reasonable explanation for why this person disappeared from, you know, your life and relationship, and you were the last person to see them alive. And
well, I think what most people don't realize, it's actually kind of hard to disappear. I mean,
yeah, truly, especially in this day and age.
It just really is.
Yeah, she had been accumulating money. She owed a bunch of people money, but I think what it was is he was using her as a cash cow and taking it from her.
Wow.
Okay.
And they were using it to sell, to buy and sell stuff. I don't know.
You were indicating earlier that their area is like kind of known as just this place where you can go and drop bodies off when someone, you know, and then we kind of got.
There's a lot of like ravines and hollers.
Okay.
Yeah, there's even out where this dude lives. He lives out on like a few acres. I don't know the exact amount, but he lives in and it's like even the property he has is like really hilly and has like a lot of rocks and stuff like that. So there's like a bunch of curvy roads that like you look down and like there's treetops right where you're at, like right where the road is.
Oh gosh.
You know,
okay.
and,
yeah.
You can't if you were to wreck down there, nobody would be able to find you.
Right.
Type thing. So.
And you don't have to give me too many specifics if you shouldn't, but do we know if his property's been searched? Do we know if have there been searches done, like human on the ground searches for her?
As far as I know, they haven't been able to get a warrant for that yet.
Okay. Are they keeping you pretty up to date on the progress of the case?
Yeah. I mean, I've been having to reach out to them a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's pretty typical.
It seems like they're doing, it's a really high crime rate city or town. So they have a lot of open cases right now. There might even be more than one missing persons case, and they have murder cases and all sorts of stuff.
Sure.
It's really a rough area. It can be rough when you're at the bottom half. I mean, if you have money and you live there, it's a beautiful place.
Of course. I understand that. It makes me sad, though, that it's only been run on one news station. I'd love to see her. I mean, honestly, sometimes what we see in these cases that we cover, because a lot of times we cover solved cases. In these cases that take years for a missing person to be found, typically what happens is people start talking about it. They start to become like the squeaky wheel. News coverages really start picking it up, and that is what gets people talking, and it puts pressure on the right people, and things get moving in the right direction. So
I've actually had a few different influencers on TikTok make a video for it as well.
Good.
I posted the group. Like, that's why I created the group, was to try to gain exposure, because I can't control the media. I did actually email the news down there, but they never replied. So, because I called in and they answered, and they just told me to email. They gave me the email, and they just never answered my email.
Listen, be as obnoxious as you have to be. Get on Twitter and start adding the local, news stations. Seriously, keep putting her picture up there with where's the news coverage on, my missing sister. Seriously, really start hammering at it and draw attention to them that they're not picking up, this, like, why does one human get more coverage than the other? It really is the people with their feet on the ground that are, making sure that this coverage gets, done. So that is
the families,
the
families pushing to make sure. Yeah, that's exactly why I made that group. And and the police actually did say that they were thinking about doing another media push.
Good.
But I spoke to one of the detectives last week, but he didn't say anything about that day. I just, some random girl had messaged me on Facebook with some information, and pretty much I just send everything that I get to the detective.
Good. Yeah. Yes.
But I don't know if they can use it. I don't know. I never know what small piece of information is going to be what cracks the code.
Sure. Sometimes it's the littlest bites that end up producing.
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure. And sometimes as an investigator, when you get a piece of information that you don't think is important, then all of a sudden, a little while later, it is the actual missing piece, and you just didn't have the other pieces first to put it together. It does, yep. So definitely keep doing that. Will you share for us, can you describe her for us, a description?
She's probably about 5'6", approximately 120, 130 pounds. She has brown hair, unless it's dyed. She does occasionally dye it like red or like a blondish color. Mm-hmm. She wears glasses. She has blue eyes. She has a tattoo across the chest that says baby girl.
Oh, okay.
And then she has a barbed wire bracelet on her wrist with the name Ava on it. And she also has a few finger tats. I can't remember exactly what they are. And then she has a quote on her arm that says love is evil.
Okay. So very distinct tattoos. Good.
Yes. She also has her nose pierced, ears pierced, all of that.
Okay.
That's pretty much most I can say.
Yeah. What was she like as a child?
Oh, as a kid, she was pretty funny. I was a big sister, so she was always trying to follow me around and wanted to do what I wanted to do, and, looking up to me and stuff. She always had a way of trying to, con our parents into getting her way, or, she's a Gemini, so her birthday is actually coming up in June. So she would, have that two-faced thing where she would be, one way with one person and another way with another person, and just kind of be, on the fence of all these situations,
to bend to her will. Yes.
Yes. And she was just, she was actually a pretty good kid though. She did good in school, and, seemed pretty normal, had a lot of friends, and
good.
Didn't have a problem. When we moved to Tennessee, because she was younger, she didn't really have a problem. When she went to school, she already had friends the first week. It took me 6 months to even find someone to sit with at lunch. I was a junior, and she was in I think she was in second or third grade or something.
Okay.
So yeah, she was pretty popular. A lot of people in the area know her. Come to find out, a bunch of people that I used to hang out with back in the day knew her. So.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And where does the nickname Shug come from? What's the...
That's
story behind
actually
that?
a family nickname from when she was a baby. When she was a baby, she was just really sweet. So my mom called her Miss Shug,
Miss Shug.
Miss Sugar.
Uh-huh.
And then it slowly got shortened down to Shug, and then it just stuck. It stayed that. Like, we
That's
all,
sweet.
like, as you know, we all called her Shug, even
Yeah.
like my cousins, and like people would say Jaden, and like my family members would be like, "Who the hell's Jaden?"
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think
we're like, it's Shug.
I think the first time Dana, she said, my niece Shug is missing. And I said, you have a niece named Shug? I just thought that was so unique. She's like, oh my gosh, no, that's not her name. It's such clearly a really endearing family nickname. I love it. I think it's super sweet.
I think it's great.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and then as she got older, we tried to, incorporate like rappers in it. I started calling her Shug Knight, Shug Nugget, just different stuff like that.
Mhm.
She had a really, joking personality. Like, we could sit and crack jokes on each other all day, and we'd both just be cracking up the whole time.
Mhm.
We wouldn't have our feelings hurt or anything.
Right.
We'd just be,
Right.
we could say some mean stuff to each other, but we just laugh it off
Right.
because that's what siblings do.
That's
sure.
truly
Yeah.
how Wes and I became friends.
Yeah.
We just bonded over different, backlashes at each other at work. I mean,
Yep.
it's just how it goes. I think that's
He
how
was
I've
always
made
one of those
most of my friends.
Right. It makes sense. It's relatable.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, she was always one of those people that liked to make people laugh too. So she was pretty funny. Like, there's so many times that we just laughed, and I would always be the annoying big sister. And like, she had this sign on her door. She had like one of those open close signs, and she'd always have it on close, and I'd always go and twist it onto open and barge in her room. And she'd be like, "Get out!"
The sign said open.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's
Yeah,
funny.
exactly.
Oh.
And then another time, we watched like a bunch of movies together. We watched Night at the Roxbury, so we always had like the inside jokes about that. Like,
Oh yeah.
does this mean anything to you? Like the sibling rivalry. And
Yeah. Oh, I love
yeah,
that.
she always was like, she was always there for me too, because when I was going through what she was going through,
Mhm.
she was still living at home with our mom.
Okay.
And like, my mom didn't really even want her talking to me at that point, because she didn't want me to be a bad influence on her, which I understand my mom's standpoint now, but back then I was like, damn, Mom.
Right. Of course.
but-
Yeah.
But so she would always like keep in touch with me and make sure I was okay. And,
Aw.
So even as a little
Try to-
sister, she would take care of you and worry about how you were doing.
yeah. Yeah. She would, she wanted to make, she's always been like that. She always just like caring, she wanted to make people happy, and she understood people's pain.
Mhm. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it really
Way to
is.
say
Because a
that,
lot
yeah.
of people don't.
No.
They're so unaware.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because she had been through like a lot,
Oh, yeah. It sounds like it.
She just grew up and she was lost, and she couldn't
Oh,
find her way.
I think she definitely would have, if I understand where you guys are at of just really wanting closure. And I can see your point of view of feeling like, you know her and she would have reached out to you by now, but we always have to have hope that, maybe
Right,
she's just in hiding somewhere over
I
something.
do try to hope that sometimes, but it just doesn't seem realistic to me.
Mhm.
But that'd be the best case scenario.
Of course. Yep.
Sure.
But here you are. I mean, just be so proud of yourself that you're doing these interviews with podcasts and trying to get the media to pick this up and just really fight for her one way or the other. Just that closure of either we find her or we get some sort of closure for her, and
Right.
it just speaks
I was actually
volumes
kind
to
of
your
nervous to do a
connection.
podcast.
Oh, really? Are we your first one?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you've done
Yeah,
fantastic.
you've done wonderful.
Nothing to be nervous about at all. I told you that here on Crime Curious, we really try to make interviews feel more like chats with
Like
friends.
a conversation.
Yep,
Yeah.
because that's our
Right.
vibe.
Yeah, it was
really
pretty comfortable.
good.
It made me.
Good. I'm
It was
so
good.
glad. Good. I'm so glad. And, don't be afraid to jump on. There's plenty of other podcasters out there that are always looking to help as well. So don't be afraid to do other interviews. The more people that we can draw attention to this, the better. And we're really honored to be a part of this journey to try to help bring awareness here and hopefully help your family get some sort of closure one way or the other to find her. And if you could text me a picture that you'd like to use, I will post it to our audience with her name and also her endearing nickname as well on there to help put a face to the name and just keep it circulating.
All right. And would you want to post the podcast to the group or?
Yeah,
send
I'd
it
love
to
to.
me so I can share it?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to.
All right. Yeah. And I'll just send the picture to you on Messenger.
Okay. Yes. Yep. That sounds good. And we would love to put out updates too. So as you get updates that you can share as things move along, or if there's anything that comes up that you would like us to put an update out about to get more information out. If you need our help in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are more than happy to do that.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. It has been a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time. I know you have 3 kids at home that you have to deal with and, and love on and whatnot. So thank you so much for your time tonight.
You're welcome. It actually sounds like they're tearing the house apart inside, but my boyfriend's in there. So,
well, if you need to just sit in there and hide a little longer, be like, oh gosh, they wouldn't stop talking. Sorry, honey, it took 2 hours.
No, I'm gonna go in. I have to.
Oh gosh,
start doing the bedtime routine now.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you so much. It was lovely connecting, and I really hope that we can help in some small way bring some closure to your family here with some awareness and coverage.
I appreciate that. You have a nice night.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Wes.
Wow.
I just don't know that the audience understands how different interview episodes are.
This is obviously my first one
with
like
a case.
This, and it's a lot different. I wanted to ask a bunch of questions that I'm like, no.
I know.
Not really my place.
And I know.
I started, then I think you caught me. You very subtly made me stop.
No, it's actually that I know some details
that
I know that can't be released.
Gotcha,
and so I didn't want
it to be
her to accidentally just be, just be answering your questions. Your detective mind.
I'm going over here that I'm like,
dude, I could feel it moving. I can feel your detective brain just moving.
And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, So, yeah.
And it's also super hard to not, everyone's innocent until proven guilty, right? So it's super hard to sit in this seat and not be like.
Well, and it sounds like, obviously the law enforcement down in Tennessee are doing everything they can. And so.
I think so. I do think so. I would love to find us a brain bath. I know that some listeners have sent us some recently, and I just have to pull them up on my phone, dear friend, and find them. If I can, we may have to.
I think the first one you ever did for me ended up being kind of sad. It was like the dude got his penis cut off.
Oh yeah, that wasn't funny. That was in poor taste, Charnell.
It turned out to be pretty sad.
Well, you know what though? If Megan had been sitting in that seat, it would have been funnier.
Yeah.
But someone with an actual penis sitting in that seat.
And you're telling, and I'm like, this isn't a brain bath. This sounds horrible.
It lands differently. When it's with somebody. Yeah. I know that I have brain baths. Hold on. I'm gonna have to cut out our dead air, but you know what? I think it might be in our emails. Okay. All right. So this is from Rachel. She sent it to our email.
Okay.
And weirdly, though, I had come across it, meant to screenshot it, for an episode and then forgot. So it was just odd that she also sent it to me. Someone sent it to me. So, okay, this is posted. This is perfect since you're right across. Just so you guys know, Wes is in his actual sheriff's get-up today. Yep. He came right from work, so we really appreciate that, spending your evening with us.
Yep.
This is from the Springfield, Colorado Police Department.
Okay.
And it is a DUI arrest. They're putting out a notice, a Facebook post.
Okay.
It says on 5/13/2023, around 1:30 p.m., Springfield police conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle traveling at 52 miles per hour in a posted 30-mile-an-hour zone.
So going a little fast.
A little titch bit over the speed limit. Mm-hmm. And you want to know what this driver did? Well, the driver attempted to switch places with his dog, who was in the passenger seat. As the Springfield Police Department officer approached and watched the entire process.
Please tell me the dog put its little paws up on the steering wheel.
Let's see. The male party then exited the passenger side of the vehicle and claimed he was not driving.
Oh, my God.
The male party showed
I don't know if I've ever been that drunk that I was convinced I would get out of trouble because my dog was driving.
My dog was speeding.
Yeah.
Dang it. The male driver clearly showed signs of intoxication. It's funny that that's where you went with it. And when asked about his alcohol consumption, he ran from the officer.
He said, "Gots to go."
It's time. I'm turning into
What
the
would have
road
been great
runner
is
now.
if the dog would have followed him also.
Chased him.
We actually had one time where a guy got arrested. Now, he didn't try to use the dog as an excuse, but he had a very large, angry, I believe it was a German Shepherd in the car.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
And we couldn't get into the car to tow it.
Oh, no.
Because whenever you got close to it, this dog would just bounce off the windows.
That was a wonderful impression.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. Kind of, yeah. So... But I never. But he didn't try to blame that the dog was driving.
What did you end up doing? How did you tow it at that point?
We had to call for animal control.
Oh, that makes sense.
Get a pole and then
do the whole thing.
Yeah, so
I don't know why I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
That's literally like your.
But we were not getting into that car. No.
It does say that the male party was apprehended quickly within 20 yards of the vehicle. So must be he doesn't turn into Speedy Gonzalez when he's drunk.
I'm not all drunks, but if you're drunk enough and when people try to flee when they're intoxicated,
does it not go well?
There's usually some falling.
I bet.
Some running into things.
I have purposely never allowed myself to try to run because I know that a gazelle I am not.
Yeah.
when I'm drunk. Yes. Let's see. It was discovered that the male was driving from Los Animas to Pueblo and got lost in Springfield. So that means something to the people that are from there.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that it means he's way out of his way.
Out of his way.
Yep. Oh, he did have 2 active warrants for his arrest in Pueblo. Pueblo. Am I saying that right? I'm sorry.
Pueblo?
It is Pueblo, and I apologize because my throat is parched from that interview. So, just so you know, the dog was given to an acquaintance of the driver to take care of while his owner was in jail.
Good.
And the dog does not face any charges and was let go with just a warning.
Now, Fido, you're going to get a stern lecture.
You are. Let's be more cautious of the speed limit, buddy. Yep, when you're driving. Didn't say what type of dog it was, but...
And I tell you what, it happens more often than not that when you arrest somebody in a vehicle, they've got their dog with them.
Really?
It happens all the time.
Oh, do you usually just call someone that they know?
Oh, yeah. We've even gone so far as to... I had a drunk driver years ago, and that was never my thing. I wasn't really a traffic car, but he'd gotten in an accident. He had these 2 beautiful labs, friendly. He actually gave us the keys to his house with consent, and we negotiated with him that we would simply open the door,
let
put
the
the
dogs
dogs in the
in.
house,
Mm-hmm.
and then we took the key back to the jail and gave it to him. And he was very appreciative again. So
their dogs could go to their home, and
maybe other places don't, but we've always tried like hell to make sure
Yeah.
that the animal's safe and it goes somewhere.
It makes me love you guys more because I'm actually someone who's going to be more sad if I have a true crime case and a dog dies in it.
I tell you what.
Oh man.
I had an accident one time where a lady, and she was okay. She was hurt, and she ended up going to the hospital. But she had a dog in the car, and the dog died. And it tore.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that happening.
Tore me up.
Yeah. Oh, that poor baby.
But I was a kid. Like when I was a kid, I couldn't watch Lassie because I'd cry.
No. No.
Marley and Me, any of that
I do
stuff.
have more empathy for dogs and animals, I think, than I do humans. I won't lie to you or to the audience. There have been times where we've recorded episodes and Megan and I, or my old co-host and I, have realized that in our voices we sound more sad when the dog got killed than when the human, and I've had to edit it out.
Oh, I definitely probably like dogs more than I do.
Yeah.
A lot of humans.
Because we work with humans.
Yeah.
That we're like, we understand.
But I
we're the
remember that.
worst.
I remember I came home and I was upset and I was in an accident. She's like, "Oh my God!" My wife. She's like, "Is the lady okay?" I go, "Yeah." I mean, she had some broken bones, and then I said, "But her dog, and this dog's just being man's best friend, and unfortunately got in an accident. And it was tough."
And also that poor lady, she got hurt in the accident and lost her baby.
She asked, "Well, how was my dog?" And we had to tell her. I mean, she's in the ambulance. She's all taped up because of possible injuries and.
Yes.
Yeah, and we had to tell her her dog didn't.
No, that's that. Bless your guys' heart, because nope, I couldn't do it. I'll say, Matt, we have a little car seat for the girls.
Oh, do you have the car seats?
Of course we do. And Matt always drives much safer. Like when I say, I always say like drive safe to him or whatever. But I'm not kidding you. When he's taking the dogs, he goes, "Of course I'm going to drive safe. I have the girls."
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, that's true. You're actually much safer if you take the girls with you because you'll drive safer.
I don't have the seats, so they end up on my lap. But we only go. I live in the same neighborhood as my mother, so when we can't even say it if we're going somewhere. Yes. Bye-bye. If we say bye-bye, they freak out.
I'm super glad the girls aren't in the room with us. That's their key word. Yeah, they love it.
So it's right in the same neighborhood, and we'll drive over there, but yeah.
Yeah, you got it. We don't take them. They don't love to go like super far. They start to pant. My parents is about the farthest, and that's 20 minutes away or so.
A dog we had before this, and it was a Boston Terrier. Unfortunately, she got hit in the road, but she would go with me on trips, and I'd stopped at the store and left the car running, not thinking that would be an issue.
Oh, no.
And I hear the door open, dicking, and I'm like, somebody let a dog in here. And it's like, somebody let my dog in there. She had rolled down the window, jumped out, and somebody opened the door, and she just came.
She was following
She followed me into the, yeah. Because, you're like, who's the dumbass that let a dog in here? Then it's like, oh,
wait, I know that dog.
That's my dog.
It's coming up.
Apparently, I am the dumbass.
Okay, it is the worst when you realize you are the dumbass that you were judging. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I've been there a time or two. Oh, shit. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Yes, hopefully you guys can help spread the word. Share this. Share our post that we put up about this. Please share it on your social media and help keep this conversation going. Join the search for Jaden Facebook page, Jaden Carpenter Facebook page as well. That can help because then you could share things from there to help keep it circulating. So thank you all so much for listening today. Until next time, keep it curious. Bye-bye.
Bye.